Hey guys, Mr. Zera here. As we spend another day in quarantine, um, and scientists still looking for a vaccine to fight COVID-19, I thought to myself, when was the first vaccine and how was it discovered? So remember, a vaccine is a type of prepared, it's almost like you want to call it medicine, so to speak. It gives your body what it needs to fight off a disease. And remember, vaccines are usually made with something that resembles the disease-causing microorganism. And we're going to talk about smallpox. So for many centuries, smallpox devastated mankind. And in modern times, we don't have to worry about smallpox thanks to the remarkable work of Edward Jenner and his vaccine for smallpox. The origin of smallpox as a natural disease is lost in prehistory. It's believed to have appeared around 10,000 BC at the time of the first agricultural settlements in northeastern Africa. The earliest evidence we have of smallpox are skin lesions resembling those of smallpox were found on the faces of mummies from the time of the 18th and 20th Egyptian dynasties, so around 1500 BC. Smallpox was introduced to Europe sometime between the 5th and 7th centuries and was frequently epidemic during the Middle Ages. And smallpox, kind of like COVID-19, affected all levels of society. In the 18th century in Europe, 400,000 people died annually of smallpox, and one-third of the survivors went blind. The case fatality rate varied from 20 to 60% and left most survivors with scars. And it was even worse in infants, with somewhere around 80 to 90% of infants passing away. Unknown in the New World, smallpox was introduced by the Spanish and Portuguese conquistadors. The virus decimated the local population and was instrumental in the fall of the empires of the Aztecs and the Incas. Similarly, on the eastern coast of North America, the virus was introduced by early settlers and led to a decline in the native population. So, smallpox was an incredibly infectious virus that spread very quickly. It was wreaking havoc on civilization. However, there seemed to be a set of individuals who were immune to smallpox. So Jenner, remember Jenner, Edward Jenner, he had heard rumors of workers at the dairy being protected from smallpox naturally after being infected with cowpox. So don't confuse cowpox with smallpox, two different viruses, but very similar. And so Jenner started thinking about this and he figured, well, cowpox must be protecting against smallpox. And cowpox can be transmitted from one person to another, and maybe we can do this as a deliberate mechanism of protection. So Jenner decided to test this, and in May 1796, Edward Jenner found a young dairymaid named Sarah Nelms, who had a fresh cowpox infection on her hand. She had lesions on her hand and arms, and they were fresh, so he knew the infection was new. And so on May 14th, he took some matter from these lesions on Sarah's arms, and he put them on an 8-year-old boy. So he infected an 8-year-old boy named James Phillips with cowpox. So the boy developed a fever and he had some discomfort, but about 9 days later, the boy felt better. So he was cured of the cowpox just naturally, just like any normal fever. You get over it after a little bit of time. Um, so then he decided in July of 1796, so a couple weeks later, he infected the boy again, but this time with matter from a fresh smallpox lesion. And so no disease developed. The smallpox did not develop in the boy, and Jenner concluded that the protection was complete. So he infected this boy with cowpox, let the boy get over the cowpox, and then infected the boy with smallpox, but the smallpox never took. He was immune to the smallpox. So in 1798, he continued adding more cases to his initial experiment, and Jenner privately published a small booklet entitled, this is a long one, An Inquiry into the Causes and Effects of the Variola vaccinae, a disease discovered in some of the western counties of England, particularly Gloucestershire, and known by the name of cowpox. That's the whole title of his paper. Um, and the Latin word for cow is vacca, vacca, and the Latin word for cowpox is vaccinia, vaccinia. And so Jenner decided to call his new procedure vaccination. So he kind of combined those two words to form vaccination. And that's where the term vaccination came from. And that's the first example we have of vaccination. The end.